Hello guys, welcome to Anima Anatomia. Today we will learn about how our magnificent brain receives its fuel, that is blood. So let's start. So blood supply to brain start with two ways. First is vertebral artery, second is internal carotid artery. So first we will focus on internal carotid artery. It will divide it into four parts: cervical part, petrous part, cavernous part and cerebral part. So first we will discuss about cervical part. Cervical part begins with neck region, and when it entered did not contain any branches, and when it entered into carotid canal, it converted into petrous part. You can see here, I'm highlighting here, this is the petrous part of the internal carotid artery. So it is initiate from the petrous part of the temporal bone, and it contains one branch, that is corticotympanic branch, which supplies to the middle ear and also to border of the middle ear. And after when it further goes to up, it converted into cavernous part. Cavernous part you can see in the diagram here, which contain cavernous sinuses, which is the drainage system also, and also contain the venous blood, and that's why it's called the cavernous part. It also contains the hypophyseal branch, which supplies to the pituitary gland. And after that we have the cerebral part, which we will discuss in the Circle of Willis. So let's see.
So guys, we will see the Circle of Willis first. As you know guys, there are two main arteries, internal carotid artery and the vertebral artery, which supplies our brain, of course. So firstly, we'll see what is the vertebral artery. Vertebral artery, which is the branch of the subclavian artery, it ascends towards from the side of our neck, and it goes back to our cervical part. And these two arteries, join and form the basilar artery. Okay, so these basilar artery forms the posterior side of our Circle of Willis. Now, as we can see in this diagram over here, this is the vertebral artery. This is the vertebral artery. Now we'll label this as vertebral artery. Vertebral artery. Okay, guys. Now, as I'm saying, this vertebral artery goes from here and this goes from here, and it joins to form the basilar artery. Okay, guys. So this basilar artery has various sorts of branches coming out of it. So these, of course, this basilar artery is present on the posterior side of our neck, where the all pons, medulla oblongata, which are present. So therefore, these branches are called as the pontine arteries. Okay, guys. Now we will come to the Circle of Willis, the main part of the Circle of Willis. Okay, so this main part, in the main part of the Circle of Willis, we have to understand the three main arteries which are present in the Circle of Willis. The first one is the posterior cerebral artery, the middle cerebral artery, and the anterior cerebral artery. That's it, guys. So we will label over here posterior cerebral artery. This one is the posterior cerebral artery, this and this. This one over here is middle cerebral artery, guys. So we have to see, I'll tell you some important stuff over here. The posterior cerebral artery, the middle cerebral artery, and the final one is the anterior cerebral artery. So we are going from the posterior side to the anterior side. So posterior side and posterior cerebral artery, in the middle the middle cerebral artery, in the anterior side anterior cerebral artery. Okay, and this middle cerebral artery, which is the branch of the internal carotid artery. Okay, which comes out of the carotid canal, as you have seen earlier. So now the main point I'm trying to get you here is these main three arteries are done. Now this posterior cerebral artery and middle cerebral artery are connected. So therefore this is connected, therefore it's called as the communicating artery. Okay, therefore this artery which connects middle cerebral artery and posterior cerebral artery, therefore it is called as posterior communicating artery. So whenever the term comes where two arteries are connecting in the Circle of Willis, therefore the communicating artery will come. Okay, guys. Okay, so these two are connected. Now the part of the anterior cerebral arteries, these two anterior cerebral arteries are connected over here. As you can see, I have mentioned this diagram in this diagram. Therefore, in this part where the two anterior cerebral arteries are connected, the small portion is called as the anterior communicating artery. So that's it, guys. That's our circle of Willis. Okay. There is this vertebral artery, basilar artery, where branches of basilar artery, the pontine arteries, the posterior cerebral artery in the posterior part, which forms the posterior angle of the circle of Willis. Then comes the middle cerebral artery, which comes from the internal carotid canal, and this middle cerebral artery and the posterior cerebral artery is connected. Therefore, posterior communicating artery. This middle cerebral artery and the anterior communicating artery is connected to a small artery called as the anterior communicating artery. That's it, guys. That's how our circle of Willis is. Thank you.